Use of filtered compost to make potting soil. For preparing the mix for potting plants, coarse screened compost is used along with coarse sand and red clay. This potting mix holds moisture and provides nutrition for potted plants. In this class, we will learn the recipe for potting soil and how screened compost is used to make one. Objectives. At the end of this class, you will be able to identify the ingredients of potting soil, identify the materials needed to make it, and make the potting soil. Coarse screened compost can be used to make potting soil. Let's see the recipe of this potting mix. Let's get started. First, look at the ingredients that will be required to make potting mix. 1. 3 parts coarse screened compost. 2. 1 part coarse sand. 3. 1 part red clay. And 4. Coir pith, which is optional. Now, here are the materials that will be required to make potting mix. First, a pot, then sapling, liquid compost, and small stones. Let's now see the steps involved in making potting mix. Step 1. Add the coarse screen compost, coarse sand and red clay and mix. Take 3 parts of coarse screened compost, and 1 part red clay. 1 part coarse sand. You can add coir pith if you have some, it's optional. Mix it all together and it's ready to go. Step 2. Place the stones and add the potting mix. Put small stones at the bottom of the pot. Then put in the potting mix that was just made. Step 3. Plant the sapling. You can plant the sapling in the pot filled with the potting mix. Step 4. Wet it with liquid compost. Wet the plant and the potting mix with liquid compost. This is how you make the potting mix, plant the sapling in it, and wet it with liquid compost. With that, we come to the end of this class. Let's recall what we have learned. We learnt the recipe of potting soil. Let's review its basic steps. Step 1. Add the coarse screen compost, coarse sand and red clay and mix. Step 2. Place the stones and add the potting mix. Step 3. Plant the sapling. Step 4. Wet it with liquid compost. You have now learnt the use of filtered compost to make potting soil. Take our next class to learn about the use of filtered compost to make liquid compost.